Good morning, everyone. Today is September the 10th, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and we are looking at SPY today. I did notice the VIX continues to fade. We could have ourselves a fair bit of upside today as we push back through this noisy patch of 1, 2, 3, 4 downward days. Now, rotation tells us that it's possible that we could head all the way up into these edges where primary old support is. But we also have the CPI coming tomorrow, so my suspicion is that we still stay inside of this very big candlestick here. I'm going to push this number up to 551. Notice what's happening. We see higher lows. Higher lows are coming in under a negative trend for the tight time frame and under a flat trend for the longer time frame. So this gives us a rangy event with likely wicks on either side, but the dip buying should keep us on the side of the trade that says, listen, if I am an intraday trader, I'm going to be looking for pullbacks into support to go long. And so for SPY, you can see this thin area of auctioning that looks pretty good near 542 with the value area low near 541. We'll see what goes today. I suspect that however this debate goes tonight, it might affect the markets somewhat. So we want to be just a wee bit careful in terms of how we're positioning into the overnight. You could get stopped out of something because of a giant wick in either direction. So overall big trend says bounces or sell zones. Tighter trend over the last couple of days says pullbacks or buys. So you don't really want it to lose this 52 area or the buying pressure is going to evaporate. Okay, same thing for the Qs, right? Both of these moving averages are downward, but we are staring down these higher lows, right? And so underneath, we can see there's a mean reversion somewhere. It could be the VWAP at 460. It could be this primary resistance zone at 465. This number that we had at 453 held very nicely, and that's going to be the one that we want to watch again to pull back, get above, and then we can trade it. I don't like long action if we break the value area low at 448 and don't immediately recapture the motion above. All right, so mixed bag, but dip buyers sitting in the space, and you can see they're in this sideways channel here. They just started moving out of the break. Could you chase that? You could. Into what? You've got 457.40 just ahead. My thought is let things settle out a little bit and look for a dip that allows you to buy so that you're managing your risk carefully, because risk management is the one thing that keeps us trading for a long career. All right, so here we are, 54.92. That's the VWAP. We're looking at the ES now. We've got that flat moving average on the longer time frame. The tight moving average on the whole tells us it's downside. We've got higher lows from underneath telling us that dip buyers are coming in. This candlestick here on Friday is still the wall of worry that traders are trying to get over. My thought is they're going to try and get there today, right? 55.05, 55.25, 55.35. Pullbacks, buy zones, came in and touched the area into the close of yesterday's VWAP. That's 54.64 and some change. Where could we chase this? Well, I don't like chasing anything in a counter trend formation unless I'm looking at a very tight time frame. I prefer to wait for the pullback and then move. Now, if it continues to run, you could chase it, but you'd need to get to a very tight time frame. So for instance, something like a 5-minute would clearly give you trend, right? And so what you would do is wait for a break that pulls back into that moving average. Here it looks like it might be about 54.80, maybe the value area high at 54.85, and then take off and move in that direction. Remember, it's very important if you take a position to move ahead, you've got to have something that's telling you you're going in the right direction. Otherwise, you'll be pushing up against flow, okay? And that's going to affect your risk. Doesn't mean that you won't be right. It's just going to affect your risk. And that's really what you have to manage. If we happen to lose 54.60, we've got 54.35 and then 54.00. I don't think that happens today. I suspect we gravitate to the north. The VIX is telling us at this time that that's what we ought to be doing. So let's take a look at the NQ next. Just like the Qs, downward sloping moving averages, but buyers are starting to show up here at the bottom. So what do? You wait for the last place that they all decided they're going to sell. To me, that's about 19,138, all the way down to maybe 19,000, right? They are going to try and get up there. We know, I would suspect that we are going to do that. You know, price action is compressing. Take a look. Higher lows, lower highs. So my thought is, you know, a little bit of bouncy action right up into this zone. Two-way tape, right? Meaning there are going to be opportunities to buy, opportunities to sell, and a lot of the candlesticks will retrace each other, just like yesterday. See, downward candlesticks totally retraced each other into upward candlesticks, totally retraced each other into downward candlesticks, and then up again. So the same sort of thing. Candlesticks up, candlesticks down, you know. Okay? And this is very likely to be the same thing. So just wait for it. 30-minute chart showing that flat action. And don't expose yourself to risk that you don't need to. All right? If you want to chase, again, collapse down into those tight time frames that tell you, without forgetting that you're sitting in one of these, they'll tell you, hey, wait for the dip, buy that pullback, and you're off to the races. Let's take a look at the YM. I feel like I've been looking at the YM all morning, so it feels like I've already done it, but I know I haven't. So, double topping formation. YM very strong compared to the others. It is really almost retraced this entire candlestick motion. It is colliding into old support, potentially new resistance. Now yesterday it moved up into 41,000 and where? Come along. 41,063, something like that, and then faded. But even as this candlestick is moving down, price action is above the close of the prior day. And that close is 40,895. Okay, so that looks like pullbacks are going to be buy zones also, right? Now, we know the first thing likely here is a pullback because it's bumping into congested resistance. And so a fade is probably a better bet at the first pass for the YM, right? Maybe a fade into 40,245 or 40,605. All right. Again, because the rotation looks a little bit different, it's already at a resistance zone. It could collapse early while the other indices move up, right? But when we're looking at this individual index, we do have to say, hey, what is this telling us? And it's saying, listen, a bounce could be very short-lived here into 41,063. It'll give us still a fair bit of movement, but it should be a space that will bring sellers. All right. So let's take a look at oil very quickly. Oil is coming down. You know, I got to tell you, I talk about this all the time, getting into 80 and then going, nope, they're not going past that. And now we're looking at a breakdown that's fairly aggressive. Okay, so we also have some currency events going. The ruble is way down this morning because of what's going on with demand for oil, and it continues to fade. So this is a do or die zone for these traders. I'm not sure what's going on in this space, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it fade even more if what is that thing we're going to have? The debate. There we go. If the debate shows that Trump might be in the lead because there's a lot of investment in oil and gas exploration and the like, and so it might fade just a little bit more. I do think it has a possibility of moving on that piece of news and the development. So next area down, 65.17. If we bounce off this edge, which I think we could very easily, the bounce zone says if I can get up over yesterday's VWAP, 69.72, I might have a push to the north, but the first pass up into 69.70 is very likely to be a sell zone. Lastly, we'll take a look at gold. And gold continues to hold very nicely. It's probably going to sit a little bit sideways and may dip on the first interest rate increase. Don't you worry. It's going to bounce again, and it's going to bounce again because central banks are buying this stuff hand over fist. Absolutely hand over fist. All right, so it's going to move the futures up. That doesn't mean you sit here and hold it, because futures are a financial instrument. They are not a physical commodity. And so that's something very, very important to make sure that's in your mind. So pullbacks, 24.35 would be fantastic. 24.50. You could start nibbling right there, but I suspect either sideways chop and then a big blast forward, or just a little bit of a grind so it catches up with some of these moving averages. All right, take care, everyone. I know this one was kind of long also, but good luck trading today.